Hi everyone, I'm Patty Behan and thank you for joining me in the studio today in our Card Making 101 series. Do you ever feel like card makers are speaking a secret language? Matting, blending, what's everyone talking about? Don't worry, today we're breaking down all the card making lingo so you can understand the terms, and by the end of this video you'll be an expert. So let's get started. Let's start with the components of your card. First, we have the card base, which is the foundation of your card. It's typically folded in half to create a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 A2 card. And now we have a card panel, and this is the decorative piece that gets glued onto the card base. It can be the same size as the front of your card base or can be trimmed down to have a matting effect. And a matting effect is the layer of cardstock that goes under your main image or sentiment, and think of it like a framework for your art. Next up, we have masking. This is a technique where you cover an area to protect it from ink, and I'm going to do that right now. I have here a masking tape that is not permanent. It's only temporary, so I can lift it off without hurting my card. Okay, and now the next thing we're going to do is blending, and that is the art of smoothly transitioning colors together with ink pads. And so I'm going to start with my lightest color first. And I have an ink blending tool with foam on it, and I want to fill the foam with a lot of ink, and then I'm going to move it in a swirling motion. And you have to go back and forth a couple times to get enough ink on the card. And so we're just going to go about 1/3 of the way down. And then I'm going to our next color, which is a little darker, so I don't have to worry about contaminating the ink pads. We go from light to dark. And then we continue on down the card. And then we'll go for our next color. And we keep on blending until we get a nice transition. And then we can go back up top here. I want to blend that a little better. And then you remove, before we remove this, I want to show you splattering. So to do that is you can put some ink on your craft sheet here. I'm using the darker color so that it comes up better. I'm going to add some water. And then I'm going to use this splatter brush, and I'll make sure I get a lot of the ink onto the brush, and then you're just going to flick it on so you get a splattering effect. And since there's water with this ink, you'll notice that it kind of bleaches the area too. And then once we're done with that, we can reveal our masked stamping, and like magic, it looks beautiful. Okay, next we have our focal point. The focal point is the star of your card. It's the thing everyone should notice first. And then we have layers. Layers is when you stack different papers or elements or frames on your card. And then we have sentiments. Sentiments are the words on your card. And like thinking of you, make a wish, hello, and thanks. And then we have adhesive. It's just a way to say glue, foam tape, sticky stuff, and it's all to hold your masterpiece together. And then there's embossing. So embossing can mean two things. It is heat embossing, where you have embossing powder and you heat it up and it creates a raised image with the powder. And then we have dry embossing. And this is where you have an embossing folder that creates a pattern in the paper to raise it up. And then we have fussy cutting. That means that you cut out the image around the outline. Usually you need a small pair of scissors to do so. And you just cut it like so. And then after you're done cutting it out, you can apply it to your card. And you don't have to worry about being too close to the outline, or you can make it as close as you want. And there you have it. And for those of you who don't like fussy cutting, we have die cutting. And that's using a machine and a die to cut out your stamps like a cookie cutter for paper. So you just stamp on your cardstock, place the die, and you put it on your cutting board here. And then you just run it through the machine. And then it's as simple as that. Next we have scoring and burnishing. Scoring is when you make a crease in your cardstock before folding, and this helps to prevent cracking and gives you a clean, straight fold line. And you can use a scoring board and a bone folder, and you just place it in the center, or I'm going to place it here, and I know that the center is 4 1/4, and then scoring is when I'm making this line. And then burnishing is after I fold the card, and you want to fold the card on the spot where the score line is raised, not the indented, because it folds easier. And then let me get this out of the way. And to burnish it, what you want to do is it makes a nice crisp fold. And in order not to mar your paper, you put a piece of scrap paper on top, and then you just go ahead and press down on the crease. And I'll turn it over to do it again. And if you don't have a bone folder, you can use, to burnish, you can use like a pencil or a paintbrush. And then there you have your finished card.